So this is a presentation for my week 3 business model canvas. For this week, I created a customer workflow to work out the user experience in consuming my product. So I'm creating online courses, and so I imagine that either a new customer or an existing customer would have to go through an existing kind of account setup or account login process. Luckily, the online distribution platform that I'm looking at, Udemy, has that all built in and very easy to set up and use. I don't have to do anything really except to send customers over there or have them discover my courses once they're inside the platform. So a user would go through, browse through courses, read course reviews, or watch course previews. So it's very similar to like movie trailers, and to kind of see if the course that they're looking at is something that they would be interested in purchasing. And then once they decide to purchase, then the platform deals with all the payment processing, and then the user has access to the course, and they can go ahead and start consuming. So once they're inside the course is made up of a number of learning modules, and they consist of video presentations and instructions and screenshots and that sort of thing. There is also a way to participate in group discussions and also to contact the instructor. So there is some sort of interaction between student and instructor online through the platform. So I don't have to do anything extra except to respond to questions or to clarify concepts. So kind of a relatively no fuss, no muss type of process. So going into this week's business model canvas, my hypothesis changed over from teaching middle schoolers to targeting Cogswell juniors and seniors in the game development program. So I followed a certain methodology to try to get more information to kind of verify or validate my hypothesis. So first thing was to create a simple online survey, then conducting one-on-one interviews for those who responded, and then evaluating the results afterwards. So the results were kind of interesting. So out of 41 students that were contacted by an online survey, 4 responded. Out of 3 out of 4 respondents preferred face-to-face instructions as opposed to online, which isn't surprising since if they were really into online anyway, they probably would have gone somewhere else instead of Cogswell. So I ended up doing 4 face-to-face interviews, and the results were interesting. So the respondents talked a lot about having very little time to do anything outside of coursework for the Cogswell classes, and so any kind of additional online courses didn't really make as much sense. Also, the juniors and seniors that I talked to, and the 4 respondents were juniors and seniors, they spoke about the fact that they really were pushing for maximum course load to try to graduate on time, and so that's understandable. They're paying a lot of tuition. They don't want to spend any additional time working on their degree, and so it didn't make sense to them to spend actual money on anything that did not offer additional college credits towards their graduation. So that's very understandable, and I think I should have seen this coming, but it's good to kind of validate my initial fears, and so with that in mind, I decided to shift over to a different customer segment. So really targeting adults who've played but purchased online courses before, who are used to the process, who are comfortable with the process, and are consuming lots of online content anyway, and also being able to afford it, being able to, they may or may not have the time. So I started looking at people who I have access to, so Cogswell alumni specifically, and two groups amongst them. So basically, working professionals and also those who are still looking, so recent graduates. And I was able to define two specific archetypes, one being the alumni working professional and the other being the Udemy user, the user that's already used to consuming online courses. So starting with Gaurav, he's a good friend of mine, know him way back when we were working together at LucasArts. He's currently working as an artist at Toys for Bob, and he's always wanted to strike out on his own, and he's kind of working his way there. And he's definitely looking for online courses to supplement his existing skill sets. He's primarily an artist. He doesn't have a programming background whatsoever, but he definitely wants to get into it and to be able to be self-sufficient. Amanda was somebody I met online through one of the courses that I bought at Udemy, and we got into some discussion threads, and I decided to see if she might be interested in talking to me about her interests in online education, and she was kind enough to talk to me about it through Skype. And it was kind of interesting that she spends a lot of money on online courses. A lot of it is for her own personal enjoyment, and a lot of it is really for her kids who are into programming and technology and that sort of thing. Stuff that their public schools are have limited access to, and so it makes sense for them to get that online. And so and she has some time during the day when the kids are away at school to dive into online courses, and so she has the time, and also she's in control of the finances, so she's the person with the wallet that I would be going after. So she gave me some very interesting information. She's paid quite a bit of money, and also she's spent some time getting access to free courses as well. So definitely, that definitely piqued my interest in terms of targeting people like her who are kind of either, I wouldn't say addicted, but they are definitely very comfortable buying, purchasing, and consuming online educational content. So, after talking to people like Gaurav and Amanda, I decided to revamp my customer segments and try to really focus on working professionals more specifically, and also recent graduates who may be looking to get into the video game industry and still need to upgrade their skill sets and also to be able to make more games for their portfolio. So for this week, it's really narrowing down that customer segment. I decided to drop the Cogswell students, undergraduate students, just because of the things that I learned from the face-to-face interviews. So the new customer segment that I have now is really the adults who have purchased online courses before and are interested in learning how to make video games and game apps. And so you could call them early adopters, but they're used to purchasing. They're already on the educational platform, and so I have a rather captive audience, and I can actually see through the website what they've purchased in the past, so I can actually track what kind of courses they've bought or taken in the past, and kind of tailor my courses to target those people specifically. That's pretty much it for this week. Thanks for listening.